The Luka Dončić Anthony Davis trade was already looked at as one of the dumbest trades in sports history, but it somehow just got even worse. After a dominant first half in his Mavericks debut, Anthony Davis suffered an injury and is now expected to miss multiple weeks. Dallas made the trade as a win-now move, but without AD on the court, they're now even worse off than they were. And what makes it that much more frustrating is the fact that the team looked incredible when he was on the floor. They had a big lead over Houston right away, and Anthony Davis put up 26 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 assists in just 30 minutes. For a second I was thinking, wow, who knows what this team could look like by the end of the season. But then, out of nowhere he goes down in pain and everyone in the building became even more depressed than they already were. Fans were literally protesting in front of the arena before the game, so I couldn't imagine how they felt when their one glimmer of hope quickly faded away. He was diagnosed with an abductor strain, which is somewhat of a common injury. Julius Randle is out right now with the exact same thing. Although it's also the same injury that LeBron suffered in 2022, and it took him a lot longer to come back from it than everyone expected. Like every injury, it's completely different from player to player, so who knows how much this will affect him in the long run, but still it kills any hope they had for a championship this year. It's not like the Mavericks can afford to stay afloat until he gets back. They're barely keeping their playoff chances alive as is. They are 3 wins away from being the 6th seed, but they're also 3 losses away from being the 11th seed. They need to win as many games as possible right now. They can't afford to take any more losses this late into the season, especially playing in this Western Conference where there's like 13 different teams trying to get into the playoffs. They've been playing for a while without Luka, so it won't feel a whole lot different without AD, but it still sucks because if everyone on the roster was healthy, then they definitely have a championship caliber team. Obviously, I feel bad for Dallas fans because they don't deserve this at all, but I also really feel bad for Anthony Davis because he's actually been relatively healthy over the last couple years. I know everyone likes to say that he's made of glass and call him Anthony Data Davis, but he's played almost every game this season and played 76 games last season. Yeah, almost going 2 years of being healthy isn't anything too crazy, but for someone everyone constantly made fun of for being injury prone, it was a good sign. You have to remember, he was already hurt before the trade even happened, so I'm curious to know if he got hurt because he tried to come back too quickly. There was a lot of pressure on Anthony Davis to come in and fill the impact that Luka left. Mavericks fans were so mad that Nico Harrison traded Luka, rightfully so by the way, that nobody really cared that they got Anthony Davis in return. It wasn't a diss towards AD, they just felt completely betrayed, so I wonder if he came back a bit early to try and show fans that the near future is still bright. I mean, it was pretty clear he was excited to make his debut and it felt like he had something to prove, so to see the way the game ended for him definitely sucks. If he comes back in just a couple weeks, then the season could still be salvageable, but if he's out for over a month like some of these sources are saying, then this year might be a complete throwaway. I've seen some people online saying, well, but Luka's hurt too, so it doesn't change anything, which to a certain extent is true, until you remember that Luka is 25 years old and has the next 10 years to win a championship. Luka is a win now and later type of player. Anthony Davis is about to turn 32, plus Kyrie, their other star player, is even older than him. They are in a win now scenario. They can't afford to let a year or two go to waste. And for the Mavericks organization to throw so much shade at Luka for his health and conditioning just for this to happen is simply ironic. As healthy as Anthony Davis has been, when you trade for him, you know stuff like this has a chance of happening. It's not like his earlier injuries were just a one-off thing. Although this is the same organization that said that Luka doesn't have the same work ethic as all-time greats like Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, and Shaq. Yeah, Shaq, the same guy who's known for having one of the worst work ethics of any NBA superstar. When you have a player in his 20s leading your team to the finals, then you let him do whatever he wants. If he's stuffing his face with a dozen donuts and then dropping 30, 10, and 10, then honestly, who cares? And literally as I'm making this video right now, Daniel Gafford just hurt his knee. So as if things couldn't get any worse, Gafford is most likely going to be joining Anthony Davis and a few others on the bench for at least a while. Back-to-back games where a key player has gone significantly hurt, so their situation somehow managed to get even worse as I'm making this. The Mavericks' entire season is falling apart in front of our eyes, and to think this whole thing could have easily been avoided is insane. It's not just that they traded Luka, but it's also how they traded him and the fact that they tried to make this all his fault. It was such a bad trade that they had to stop showing fans on the Jumbotron because they were saying "Fire Nico" into the camera. Multiple fans were kicked out of their most recent game, and it's gotten so bad that Jason Kidd didn't even do a post-game press conference. He's just as frustrated with the organization, which is pathetic pathetic. Also, they've given no further update on Anthony Davis, aka the franchise player that they just traded for. They're making dumb decision after dumb decision and then kicking fans out of the arena for being angry. It's like they somehow didn't expect all of this to happen. With Dirk, the Mavericks were known for their loyalty, but now I honestly don't know why anybody would ever want to come play for this team. I can't even imagine how their fans feel at this point. First, their superstar point guard that they've become extremely invested in was traded. Then Max Christie and Anthony Davis make their season debuts and look fantastic, giving the team a much needed boost. But just as things start clicking, AD goes down with an injury. And if that wasn't bad enough, in the very next game, Daniel Gafford goes down as well. For a brief second, things actually looked like they could be okay, but then it all backfired within the span of a week. Just awful management from the Mavericks organization, and you know it's bad when fans on Reddit are comparing the trade to the Louisiana Purchase. This whole situation is insane, and if you thought the trade was bad originally, well, everything that has happened since the trade has made it that much worse. At least Max Christie looks good though, right? Let me know what you think about everything down in the comments, and please leave a like on the video to support the channel. Also, subscribe if you're new for more basketball videos just like this one.